is the Rangers Journal Night.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Rangers Journal post-match reaction pod to Rangers. I'm going to say, I should have said Dynamo Kyiv versus Rangers because we were the away team tonight. I'm joined by Doug to go over the match just for initial reactions. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing really good. Yep, all changed at the last second there.
Literally the last second. I was thinking the ref's going to add on an extra minute or something and we'll be under the cost for that minute. I'm going to bring up, first of all, the starting lineup because when I watch other pods, they seem to bring up who the starting lineup was. And for some reason, my internet's playing up with me. So give me 2 seconds and I'll get that. It was posted in our comments when the team was released tonight that, there was a few... just seeing it. And there was one comment, just seeing it down in writing makes you feel kind of depressed. But overall, mate, most of the team performed fairly well, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a bit of a mix. I think at least 3 quarters were vast improvements on the weekend. 1 or 2 still with some issues, but overall, I mean, until that dying second, I was ready to come on and say that surprisingly enough, despite the fact we'd lost, I actually was feeling much better because of the overall performance. And to be honest, I mean, I think that goal at the end was we deserved to get based on the whole game.
Well, let's go over it. So I've got the lineup now. Apologies for not getting it beforehand. So Jack Butland, left back, Yilmaz, and Balogun and Suter in the middle. James Tavernier, Scott Wright, Diamandi, Barron, McCausland, Lawrence, and Dessers. Scotty put up his team last night when we were talking on the kind of Monday night pod. I don't think I had McCausland in there. He might disagree, but was he a surprise for you in the starting lineup?
Yeah, a little bit, just because I feel like he'd kind of dropped out of the conversation of late. Cherney had come in, obviously, as the new signing, so everyone was talking about him on the right side. And then whenever I feel like every other discussion about the right side was just to not have it be Scott Wright. So McCausland kind of, in my mind, it's kind of dropped out of my thinking for a little bit. So I was a little bit surprised to see him. Although when I think about it, not really. Yeah, I mean, the lineup was pretty much what I expected, given everything that's been said. We knew that Probber wasn't probably going to start. The only player that I thought maybe might have started was Cherney, having gotten some minutes at the weekend. But other than that, yeah, I mean, that's where we are right now. So
I'm going to need you to take me through the first section because for whatever reason, because I have I'm in the countryside here, so my broadband is not great. So I lost a lot of the first 10, 15 minutes. What was the start like, Doug? Because I was only getting it in bits.
I thought we started really well. Lawrence had a shot. So I've got here just literally within 2 minutes. Lawrence had a good chance, hit it straight at the goalkeeper. Came out. Dessers hit the rebound, but it was a bit of a weak shot, so the keeper was able to collect that. But the immediate thing I noticed, we just looked much more up for it. There was more zip to the team. They were pinging the ball about a little bit more. Tavernier was pushing really, really high. I mean, I think within the first 5 minutes, there was a bit where I saw him and he's literally right up in the opposition's line. So we just looked a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more on it, a little bit more energy. And yeah, it was a positive start. It reminded me a little bit of the game against Man United in pre-season, where again, I was at the beginning of that game, I was like, oh, this is much better than the previous match. We were much more sort of up for it. And I think that kind of, although the performance kind of went up and down as the night went on, I think that kind of summarises in general. We just seemed more up for it.
The impression I got, and it didn't really change throughout the game, despite us not being as impressed. I suggested that we might get beat 2-0 on last night's pod, and I do take that back because they're not the team that I was maybe expecting based on a 9-2 aggregate result from the previous round. But we did seem to be easy to break on. Is that fair? we never seem to break on them in the same way that they were breaking on us. And obviously they get a goal that gets chopped off for offside. Obviously that's a shot on goal. Butland saves and players offside. But then the goal that they do get towards the end of the first half, I just felt it was too predictable. Not predictable, but it was happening quite a few times.
Yeah. You just reminded me of predictions. I actually predicted one on it. I think about it. Not to toot my own horn. But yeah, I mean that kind of falls into what I was saying before. There were still some issues with players. Our left side all first half was really weak. They were getting loads of chances down that left side, and obviously the goal comes down that side as well. I thought Scott Wright was incredibly poor. He offered absolutely nothing front or back. Every time he got the ball, he seemed to give it away as well. He was just a complete and utter non-event. And I could have seen him off in the first half at some point. To be honest, he was just so ineffective, and that was leaving Yilmaz exposed. And he wasn't having a great night either. He lost the ball quite a few times. He loses the ball for the goal. He just seemed to be struggling a little bit with the pace and the players getting around him. He was a little bit better in the second half once Shefty came on. He seemed to, obviously the double fullbacks and the defensive sort of nous going on there. There's a bit more protection, so they got much less joy in the second half. But it was still there. And when it comes to the goal, and we're talking about mistakes, obviously Yilmaz makes a mistake losing it. Suter also loses his man in the centre. So there's still mistakes there, and obviously those mistakes are still causing us to lose goals. So there's still concerns, but as I say, overall, much happier in the kind of general play.
Well, let me introduce Scotty. Thanks for joining me. It was a special guest appearance for you tonight. Something must have happened in the game to make you to jump on at this late stage. Let's go back to the starting lineup just to get your opinions on it, because you put your predicted one last night, and I don't think Scott Wright was in it. But how did you feel when you seen the team lineup?
Same old stuff. And I think the first half kind of summed up that performance, if I'm being honest with you. We've seen this team play okay. We've seen them play good. We've seen them be absolutely awful, which I suppose is normal for every football team. But when you're looking at, you just look at the back four, like Tav, Suter, Balogun, Ridvan, doesn't fill you with confidence, does it? I mean, you've got a guy here that's on the bench that we've signed exactly for this, and he wasn't in the starting lineup. Now he's had a pre-season. He's had probably the same amount of game time and stuff, because 20 are, in terms of preparations, would be roughly around about the same as us. I think that's fair to say. So why was the guy not playing? You know what I mean? I'm not buying any of this nonsense that he's unpacking IKEA furniture and all that dribble. But anyway, starting lineup was all right. Wasn't happy about it, but we're all used to it, aren't we, Billy? Let's be honest about it. We're all just kind of like, aye, okay. Connor Barn, one summer signing, some rebuild. But I'm back to being my negative self tonight for you, mate.
I was going to say, Doug, like last night on the pod, he was the happy clapper amongst the four of us, and now tonight he comes on with the negativity. I thought Balogun and Suter did all right, just in general throughout the game. But we're just going to go over in the first half at the moment. It's we were quite easy to break on, Scott. That was my takeaway from the first half and the second half, to be honest with you. I don't think we would have the ball and then all of a sudden would get broke on out of nowhere.
I think everybody within a Rangers supporter had thought the task of playing Dynamo Kyiv was going to be a lot bigger than what it was tonight. I think because they beat Partizan by 9 goals, you're like, right, kind of, and now whatever team that is, whether it's Dynamo Kyiv or Ross County or Real Madrid, if they win 9-2 on aggregate in a Champions League qualifier the week before, you're going to think, Christ, we're in for a time out here. But I think we've shown that we can compete with them, and we're probably a better team. I think overall we just edged the match. It was a very open game, which is good. We've got a result. Obviously, first half performance was all right. I agree with Doug. Scott Wright was completely ineffective, and I don't know how often. Now, we've had a guy that's come in for playing in the league in Cyprus as a left back, come in and play left wing, in Daymare in 30 to 35 minutes or the second half. than what Scott Wright's done in a game and a half. Do you know what I mean? So Clement needs to make these changes for the start instead of making them too late in the game. We need to start improving with first half performances. That's the biggest task Clement's got, is improving how we start matches, because we tend not to start them very good.
I'm just going to go back to something that Kevin. I keep bringing up the Kevin Thompson interview. I'm still starstruck, but Kevin Thompson said they would come out and try to blow teams away. It's been a problem since Gerrard's time, to be fair, Doug, hasn't it? That we've really, it's always at the halftime reset, and it's felt like that tonight.
Yeah, it has been a bit of a long-running saga. It started off just being slow to games and not getting into them until it was a bit too late, and then that kind of drifted into starting to lose that first goal constantly, one after the other. And it was just really, it is just really frustrating, because most of the time we would prove ourselves at the end to be the better team, because we would ultimately, the majority of the time, end up winning most of those games. But you're just sitting there going, but why aren't we? You'd come out in that second half and say score 2-3, maybe sometimes even 4 goals, and you'd be like, well, why weren't we not playing like this from the start? So that is something I think, and that's something I think is down to the manager getting players G'd up for games, getting them into the right mindset. We've talked a lot, I think, on various pods about, we've not managed to get back into like the old firm games in the way that we had when Gerrard was around. And I think that was something that he was exceptionally good at, was getting teams into that mindset. And I feel like that's something that's slowly drifted over time, so the further away from him leaving that we've got. And we really need to try and rediscover that, because particularly for big games and particularly for old firms, it's going to be a key thing, I think, to get to the goal from the start.
Let's move into the second half. Sorry, Doug. Let's move into the second half, Scotty. I find it quite strange, to be honest with you, that the goalkeeper starts delaying. It's almost like we're playing Motherwell or something that starts delaying by kicks and stuff. I got the feeling then they were actually a bit worried about us. But what did you feel about that, the time wasting?
I don't know, to be honest with you, Billy. It's all part of the game, really, isn't it, mate? It's
but like they beat the last 9-2 in the last game. They can score goals, but they're 1-0 up and they're time wasting at 45 minutes.
I know, but it's Rangers they're playing, so they're obviously realised halfway into the match or whatever it is that they're up against a much better side than what they were in Partizan. You know what I mean? So I think they've maybe shown us a wee bit too much respect by doing that, if you're going to put kind of a positive spin on it, Billy. I just want to bring up Charles's donation, so thank you for that first, mate. I think everybody would have bit your hand off for that result tonight, considering even on the pod last night, 3 out of 4 of us says that it was going to be a defeat. Ridvan didn't really think it was his best game, but he's still finding fitness. Barron, I thought, was outstanding again for the minutes he got in the park. And Hefty, that's a statement to start the weekend. So again, thanks for your donation, your comment, Charles.
Charles, I did see your comment. I just have no idea how these donation things work, so I'm glad Scotty was here to take.
You just bring a comment up, Billy. Bring a comment.
No worries. Thanks very much, Charles. Coming back to you, Doug, because I agree with Scotty there. Connor Barron for me again. He wasn't getting played a lot last season for Aberdeen, but I have no idea why, because tonight he was, again, I feel, one of their best players.
Yeah, definitely. I'd go so far as to say he was the best player. All in, he felt like he was all over the park. He was getting involved. He was moving the ball about, getting into tackles. Had a couple of moments here or there, but I mean that's fine. He's still a young player.
Fucking hell, come on.
He just seemed really into the game, and I felt like from the start, he was the one that was sticking out. Diomande, I felt, was quite quiet in the first half. Seemed a little as if the game was passing him by a little bit. Came back in it in the second, whereas like Barron from start to end went off, I thought was excellent.
Well, let's have a look at the subs that came up. Well, Jeffy, obviously, you have to mention him because Scotty was like a breath of fresh air when he came on, wasn't he?
Aye, pace, direct running, decent delivery. When was the last time you seen that for a Rangers winger, Billy? Do you know, exactly. And that's a left back. And that's a left back. So, yes, he's hopeful. I hope he's gave Clement something to think about for a weekend. Manager needs to start taking this stuff on board. We've got a guy, Cherny, that's come in and put a brilliant cross in for a goal. I know we'll get to the goal. But you're just like Sterling, the middle of the park again, coming on halfway through first half, shoring things up, driving the team forward. It's been missing all season. We've only played 2 matches, but even through pre-season as well, it's been missing. Just do it. That's my message to the manager. Just do it. Listen to support, because what we're seeing, surely you've got to be seeing it at the same time. You know what I mean?
I've got to give him the benefit of the doubt that he knows something we don't, mate. That these players aren't quite there yet. But I mean, they come on. Jeffy comes on, Sterling comes on, and Cherny comes on, and all 3 of them make a difference to the outcome of the game. Obviously, in a positive way. Doug, do you agree with not that they made an important? Obviously, they did. They're all probably involved in the goal, but when they all came on at the different points of the game, was that the right call for you? I was a bit surprised that Conor Barron came off, but I'm assuming that it was either too tired to continue or there was another reason for it. But surely the manager isn't deliberately not playing these players from the start.
No, I think obviously most of them are new players, so it's a case of getting them used to their teammates and building trust with them, getting to know what they're capable of doing as well. I mean, one of the things I really liked about Jeffy coming on was how quick he wanted to get the ball in the box in terms of his crosses. He was just really quick to, he would, as soon as he got himself a bit of space, he was firing the ball in. And I really liked that he was trying to do stuff quickly. I think the bad one was simply just to keep him fresh. He'd worked really hard. We want to get Sterling minutes so that he can obviously get his fitness up. I thought Sterling pretty much replaced Span perfectly in terms of energy and output. He had a couple of really good passes as well. I had at first, until the last second, I had Cherny down as a 5 out of 10. I thought he had really done nothing, but then he pops up right there with an absolutely beautiful cross into the perfect pinpoint danger zone that obviously Dessers just ghosts in beautifully. Another player that I'd put as a 5 because he's basically not really done anything, and then bats them both at 9s for their last minute contributions. But I thought the subs were pretty good. All of them, I think, contributed in one way or another. Kieran Dowell was fine. He didn't do anything amazing, but didn't do anything bad. So yeah, I thought the subs were quite good, and it gave a lot of our players that needed the minutes, some minutes, and the chance to impress. And Jeff definitely did that.
Can I come back to you, Scott? And I'm going to talk about the two things, because as I was saying to Doug earlier on in the game, I didn't get to catch the first 10, 15 minutes, but for me, Ridvan Yilmaz made a lot of poor decisions when it comes to his final ball, and I'm concerned about that. Only good thing is that maybe Jeffy comes in and takes his position for a while. He's never really clicked for me. But also, can you give me your thoughts on Cherny as well when he came on? So cover those two.
So is it Ridvan first? Sorry, first.
Yeah, please, mate. Yeah.
Right,
Just good. It's more the second half that just seemed to make really poor decisions with his last ball.
I think Ridvan Yilmaz is a player, while he's still this young, we can get my money back for. Performances, obviously, before he picked up that injury last season, he was really starting to grow into his shot. I think that's fair to say. I like him. He plays different types of passes as a left back. He can come inside, he can go outside. He'll drive with the ball. He's a bit more of an outlet in terms of going forward, because he's better at playing passes in behind. I mean, there was one pass I seen him where he was playing inverted and he tried to play a pass through to Dessers or something through the middle, and he moved kind of fell apart. But even just the intent, I like it. If he stays, I'm not going to complain about it. Tonight wasn't his best performance, but I think Ridvan's the least of our concerns just now, to be honest with you, Billy. I don't think
he was involved in a couple of, if it's just been that final ball was better. We've got a couple of goal scoring opportunities, and that's what stood out to me. That's the reason I'm bringing it up.
100%. It's just I don't really think we've got anybody else that can fill in at left back and do a better job just now. So I think we just need to kind of grit our teeth and stick with Ridvan and see where it takes us. To be honest with you, I don't think Hefty, as much as he looked good in the left wing tonight, I think if you put him at left back, he's going to get caught more defensively than what Ridvan would. Just now, I think it's about damage limitation. It's about minimising the risk, so to speak, of bringing in another player into that position. In terms of Czerny, I've not made up my mind yet, Billy. He's too one-footed for me, I think. It's far too obvious what he's going to do. When he gets to use his left foot, I think it's going to be dangerous. But it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's the predictability of it for me. His right foot I've not really seen much of, but he's only played 50 to 60 minutes in a Rangers jersey over 2 appearances, so it's quite difficult to judge him. But decent ball in tonight, and Dessers has finally done what I've always wanted him to do. He's just getting into a scoring position in the 6-yard box between the defender and goalkeeper and finished it. He's not trying to do anything fancy. Let's see that one where he's trying to overheat kick it.
Yeah,
and he's kicked 2 defenders instead. Just do the basics. And he done the basics and he took his goal well. So fair play to Cyril.
Just before we talk on the goal, Doug, because we do want to talk about that, I'm going to stay on Czerny. What Scott says there is quite right, from my opinion. It seems too predictable, but I also feel it's because he's not got another option of another, like Tab wasn't really running on for him tonight. Is that something that he could benefit from? You see Sterling plays there, Sterling can run on and give another option, at least as a decoy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we'll see hopefully more of him as he gets to play a bit more and learns about his teammates. We need to remember as well, Tav will still not be fully fit. I thought he was much better tonight. He looked more like his own self. He was a bit more composed. He did, as you say, as the game went on, he wasn't getting higher up as much. So if you do have someone that can sort of do some overlaps, provide some options, then you might get a little bit more out of them. But I'm sure that kind of thing will develop as they get to know one another and as both of their fitness increases as well. Everything we say about Tavernier right now has to be caveated with whether or not he actually will still be here. It does seem like rumours and things have slowed down, so assuming that he is, that's something that I would like to see, because I think it's important to get a bit more dynamism out of the width of the team, to have your fullbacks and wingers, whoever they're going to be, developing good relationships. And because we did get a little bit of that on the left in the second half from Yilmaz and Jeffy and Lawrence as well. I thought a couple of times was sort of in amongst those two, offering a couple of decent things. And when you got that, we did get some opportunities, although we didn't make a huge amount of them for the majority of the game.
Scotty, you'll need to talk me through the goal, because I think I hit the roof and banged my head, and so I can't really remember. As far as I'm aware, it comes down the left-hand side, and Jeffy keeps the ball in play. Take us from there. What was your recollections of the equaliser?
Hefty gets the ball down the left-hand side, plays a bit of a pass. Czerny takes a bit of a poor first touch. I don't know if that's because of the type of pass it is for Hefty, but Czerny gets the ball on the left, kind of cuts on his left-hand side, plays a first-time ball in, and Dessers is there to bury it, basically, Billy. He gets in between the defender and the goalkeeper and finishes it first time. He's hit a shot first time. The first time in his life, probably. It's a good goal. Good goal.
And Doug, coming back to, I was actually expecting the game to peter out. They had wasted some time on the 93rd minute. This really was the last chance, and it turned out to be the last kick of the ball. Would you have been, I'm not being happy, but were you comfortable with the 1-0 as it was? And how does the 1-1 change things?
Yeah, definitely. As I sort of said at the beginning, I was prepared to be coming on the show and saying that, weirdly enough, despite having lost, I was feeling more positive because I felt the overall performance was much better. I could see a lot more of what I think we're going to be playing like in the future, which, as I say, it's going to be something that's really important. Fans have been saying that they can't see what we seemed to be aiming to play at, and I thought we looked a lot more like, you know, we had direction tonight. As I say, the overall performance just looked much more cohesive. Players looked much more on it, looked much more interested, and we had some good passages of play. I mean, even in the first half, where I thought, you know, we were probably second best for a lot, most of it, we still had some really good little one-touch passes here and there. So there was a lot more positivity to take out of tonight than there was at, say, the weekend. Even though we got the draw at the weekend as opposed to 1-0. But in terms of changing it, I mean, it just totally changes the complexity and the way we can approach the next game now. You know, we don't need to go for it as hard as we would have had to done with goal behind. We can kind of feel into it a bit more. We can be a little bit more solid and just try and play to our strengths. We'll have the crowd behind us. You know, there was almost a friendly-like atmosphere, certainly through the TV anyway, because it was a half-empty stadium. You know, it'll be a much fuller stadium when we play the next game. So, you know, I still think that although we're not going to be at Ibrox with the crowd behind us, you know, we should be able to go in and, you know, like you said yourself, they were not the team that some people were thinking that they were going to be, and I think we were right with them in terms of, I think, quality. And so, you know, I'm fairly confident that we should be able to go on and win the second leg.
Scotty, I agree with that last comment you brought up. That it's a good result for us. I was not particularly impressed by Kyiv the way I maybe thought they were going to be. I thought they would be more than that, and actually was fairly comfortable at 1-0 that we'd take them back to Glasgow and turn them over a couple of goals. But it's half-time in the tie. How are you feeling just now? What's your overall mood on going to the next round?
I'm still quite cautious, Billy, to be honest. I still think that obviously we'll have Saturday, we'll have a home game against Motherwell. Hopefully a good win in that to put some more confidence in the legs. I think tonight's a lift for the players, but it's that complacency I don't want creeping in. It could even kind of easily creep in the podcast now between us because we're like, we should take them back to Ibrox. We should take them back to Hampden and we should dispose of them. But can we? Will we? I'm still cautious about it because we're still a work in progress. We're still very early on in the rebuild. William's comment, another week's training and a game will do wonders. To be fair, William, we've had 6 weeks worth of training, mate, and that's not done as in. We've had a full pre-season and we were rotten on Saturday. I think we need to remember and just put a wee bit of context in this as to where we're actually at as a team and a club just now. Tonight's a good result, but let's not get too far ahead of ourselves in terms of we're not through yet, is what I'm saying, Billy. I'm still sitting on the fence. I still don't trust this team as far as I could throw them, and that's just kind of how I'm feeling.
Well, Scotty, mate, I think there'll be people who watched the pod last night that think you've got a twin brother that switches in compared to what you were like last night. But Doug, we only meant to go for 20 minutes on these things. It's nearly half an hour. What's your thoughts? It's half-time in the tie. What's your thoughts? What are you hoping for next week?
I just hope that we go into it with confidence. I want us to, as I say, with the fans behind them, to find that little extra level that I think we're capable of. I agree with Scotty. We don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. We are still in the early stages. We do still have mistakes in us. But overall, I want us, as I say, to go into it with confidence. And I think, as I say, I think we can win that game. I think we are good enough to do that. And I think that if we can, the big challenge will be the next round if we can get there.
Well, thanks very much for coming on, Doug. Thanks for coming on after the game. Scotty, what's your final thoughts tonight before we finish up?
Just it's a good result. It's a step in the right direction. But let's just kind of put the brakes on. I still want a bit more transfer activity. We can still register. We can still register 1 or 2 players. I know it's looking more and more like we need to wait until we sell somebody before we can bring another in. I think that's evident now with Goldson and Proper. And Lammers being sold and we've not even brought anybody in to replace Lammers. I think that's fair to assume that that's how the club's operating just now. So let's just take it easy and hopefully we can go through, because that 5 million could go a long way. Salzburg are 2-0 up on FC 20. 2 last 5-minute goals, I think it was, or something. I've just seen it in my group chat there. Also, Billy, our first show on Heart and Hand, Ones to Watch, is being released on the Heart and Hand platform on Patreon tomorrow night, 7 o'clock.
Fantastic, mate. That'd be great. Can hopefully get a lot more people coming to watch us and share our, the knowledge that we've all got as football
Expertise.
fans. Expertise, that's the word I was looking for. But look, thanks everyone for joining us after the game. I feel, maybe I shouldn't feel it, but I feel it's advantage Rangers at the moment. It is half-time in the tie. We'll bring them back to Glasgow with, a full Hampden, hopefully. Hopefully try and recreate the atmosphere that we had at Ibrox during that really famous European run to the Europa League final. And, all it leaves me to say is thank you for watching, and remember, every night is a Rangers Journal night. Goodbye.